This is Season 2, Episode 2 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, and we're back with Separatists versus whatever Sean flies this week.
Sean is on a mission, actually, to not flip-flop between factions quite so much. Because I think that's generally one of the things that was letting me down. Was going, oh, this looks fun, or oh, this has beaten me, it must be better than what I'm flying, and I don't think that is actually true all the time. So what I've actually come to the conclusion of is, while I have all the factions and I do enjoy them and I'll probably fly them every now and then for fun, I'm going to kind of concentrate on maining Rebels and Resistance, because they're similar factions, and they suit the playstyle I'm good at. Which I also find fun. I also find flying aces fun, but I'm just not very good at it. So, yeah. And to that extent, for the last year, since the spoilers at last year's Adepticon, I've been itching to try the Battle of Endor stuff, because Wedge just looked a whole lot of fun. And then it was legal for STO. But unfortunately, I was unable to come to club night for the few weeks before that, so I didn't really get any practice in, so I ended up sticking with the resistance lists I've been flying. But we're back now, and we have all the info, and so it's sort of Battle of Endor time. And yeah, should we just jump straight in?
Yeah, and whereas I am renewing my often professed goal of trying to learn how to fly these damn Firesprays, and I never like them, and yet here I am flying them. They always feel like they do too little for 8 points, or 7 points, as you will shortly see.
Yeah, so I've used this opportunity to put the B-Wings on the board. I haven't flown the B-Wings in a very, very long time. So that'll be fun. And I've opted with the Gina Braylon combo. I've gone with both Battle of Endor versions as opposed to the custom Gina. So 5 points for Gina, 4 for Braylon. It is 9 points, but I just think that start of engagement lock on a duking Protorp is, or I'm hoping, will be extremely potent. For anyone who is unaware of the standard loadout cards, Gina has It's a Trap, so she gets a defensive reroll if there are more friendly ships than enemy ships at range 1 around her. She has proton torpedoes, ion bombs, and Duke. Her pilot ability is if there is a stressed Braylon at range 0 to 2 at the start of the engagement phase, she may acquire a lock. And then the new B-Wing chassis ability is basically they get 2 charges. When they receive a stress token, they may spend 2 charges to acquire a an evade token. Or when they are dropping bombs, they may spend 1 charge to drop it from the side hash marks as opposed to the back hash marks. So that's some nice area control.
Yeah.
Should be interesting. Braylon also gets It's a Trap, has some homing missiles, proton bombs and delayed fuses, and then obviously has the chassis ability. And his pilot ability is if there is a Gina Moonsong stressed at the start of the engagement phase, range 0 to 2, he may get a focus token. So it is reasonably easy to double mod both of them if they're stressed in the right way. Which is kind of my plan. Braylon can roll into a lock, then get a focus. Gina can take a focus into a roll, get a lock at the start of the engagement. Or Braylon can get double focus and an evade if you think he's taking a lot of shots, make it a little more tanky. They both get a shield upgrade, so they're 4 hull and 5 shields. And with them, I've bought Boy Luke, because Boy Luke be good, and it's just adding to the amount of munitions I can fire. I've brought Bonica in the Fang with marksmanship, Beskar, and Mando optics. And my thinking there was basically make target priority difficult. Do you shoot the B-Wings? Then she's getting her bonus attacks. Or do you shoot the Fang? Then you're not shooting my punching B-Wings. Was the hope. And then to round out, I've got 2 points left. So there's Sabine in the TIE Fighter. And
yeah, so basically you're bringing like Rebel good stuff.
Yeah.
And whilst we don't technically know if Braylon and Gina are good stuff, they
on
look
paper
like good stuff.
paper they're good. But we do know, things on paper don't always translate to good on the table. But the kind of game plan with this is Braylon and Boudica get up in your face. So that, do you shoot the B-Wing? Do you shoot the Fang? They're at range 1, they're getting 4 dice. Well, Luke and Gina hang back a little bit and lob torpedoes at you. And Sabine, depends on what scenario we end up playing. If it's chance encounter, lob her somewhere where she might make things bump. Otherwise, do objective stuff. As is her want. But your Firesprays, Sam.
Yeah, so I am going the good old 2 Firesprays plus a thing. And so I've got Django with marksmanship, Savage Press, proton bombs, munitions failsafe, the Slave 1 title, and a veteran tail gunner for all the usual good Django stuff. I decided to decline on Dooku on this one because I wanted to have the crit bomb.
I'm not
else.
sure Dooku is a necessity, particularly on Django, because Django has the Django passive mods on attack and defense against people, or mods against them, should I say, modding their dice. Like that guaranteed getting a crit isn't as critical, I suppose.
And I also thought, because normally I'm a big fan of the seismics, but I'm thinking actually I kind of just want a crit bomb just to see if I can just push some crits onto people.
Yeah.
And then I got Aura, so not Zam, in case you're wondering. Aura with Notorious and overtuned modulators, and she's going to go and shoot and fight people. And the reason I brought her is because I wanted to upgrade the usual third trick in this list from Dirge to Sunfac. And I've gone with the Ensnare, Predator, Marksmanship, and Targeting Computer on Sunfac. Normally, I'm a big gravitic deflection fan. But I've kind of come to the conclusion that if Sunfac's going to die, he's going to die. So I need to make sure that his hits as hard as possible, which is why I am basically forcing the Predator.
Yeah.
And then Targeting Computer is there because it's the only useful 1-point mod.
I mean, that's fair. You never know. Maybe no one's shooting you one time, you're not really shooting. You might just take a lock for...
Exactly. It's one of those, like, sometimes you'll get an action and you can just take it.
It's the 1-point electronic baffle, isn't it? Occasionally
exactly.
You might use it, but...
But yeah, and so the idea is he's Sunfac, and he's going to and I just built him so like he just needs to hit hard, and I just need him to hit with his bullseye, hit like a truck, and start putting shields off these ships, or one-shotting like the Bodicas or the Sabines, because he can do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like mathematically, he can one-shot Luke. It's not likely, but
No, but the Fang could easily go down. Sabine, we all know, can blank out.
And so the setup is pretty straightforward, because we're doing Scramble.
We're doing Scramble. And that's quite because I tried something a bit different today. So we rolled off and I'm first player. And because Sam only had 3 ships, and Sam kind of needs to attack, I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick one. Because I was first, I couldn't pick a side, so I'm going to stick one in the middle, as close to his board edge as possible, as I'm allowed, in the hope that he puts one near the middle, as is common. Then I'll rush towards that in the middle, and if he hangs one of his ships back, then I'm effectively jousting one less ship.
2 ships rather than
even
3,
if it's a Sunfac, it's still only 2 Firesprays, and one of them isn't Zam.
And long gone are the days where Zamgo could just carry gamers themselves.
Yeah. And if you didn't decide to leave a ship back, then I'll just send Sabine up there to claim it.
Yeah.
But you.
However,
yeah.
I was just like, look, Sabine's going to get an objective no matter what, so let's just make him get it on turn 2 and just have a ship sitting back, because maybe I can catch him in a trap, because the Firesprays are quite fast. maybe I can just incidentally snipe Sabine and take the back objective and then circle around and fight, was my thinking. And we would see where things got placed.
Yeah.
The rocks is kind of funny looking at the video. I didn't realize it when we were placing them.
Yeah, it looks like a smile. If you were looking at it from your player or from my player edge, it's an arrowhead pointing to the right, without the last point. The right hand two are quite close together, and then it's two in the middle, further apart, and two on the left hand side, almost as far apart as you can.
Literally, there are 2 and 2s in the corners.
Because what happened was, I tried to actually put some thought into it and scuppered myself slightly. Because I placed a rock that's just to the right and down of the centre objective to go past. I think you put one in the top left corner.
I then cornered either my right corner or your right, or your either my right or your left hand corner.
Yeah.
Like I put it in, like as far in the corner as I could.
And then what I did is I put the debris on the right hand side, slightly on your edge, and I thought I'd left it close enough to stop any rocks being placed there. And the idea being was, cool, if there's one on my edge, I'll put everyone there, and then I'll just claim that, and then back towards the middle.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that, then at least I'm going up on objectives.
Yeah. And so then I cornered the other rock, and then you put a rock near my objective. And then I ruined your dreams by managing to put the final rock.
It did just squeeze
literally in like the bottom left corner. So there was like a small triangle of rocks near the objective on your side.
I shouldn't have eyeballed it. And this is kind of a TTS mistake that I'm certainly bad at doing. If we were on the table, I'd just whip out the range 2 ruler.
Yeah.
And you put it range 2 of the other rock, and then you pretty much can't get anything in there. Because they were all pretty large rocks. But I didn't. And looking at it now, it looks more than range 2. All it needed to be was just down a little bit. And yeah, you could easily get one of the range rulers off the table and have a look. But there we go. So we go to setup. And because I'm first player, everything except the 2 5s is going down. So Sabine goes down, facing along my edge, below the objective in my bottom right, to 1 hard, and then decide which side of the rock she wants to go on, depending on where the Firesprays go. Admittedly, I didn't know that, but I figured Sam would probably put something over there. And turn 2 claim, and then Scarpa where she needs to. Boudica goes just to the left of her to basically go up the gap that's left in between the centre rock and the rock that Sam put to ruin my day. And then Braylon goes about a third of the way on the left-hand side of the table, just inside the left-hand rock, to basically coming towards the centre, because I figured eventually we're going to end up there, and that's where 90% of engagements end up happening in the game at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, we'll slow roll it, and we'll see where we go, and then we'll try and start doing the B-Wing stuff.
Then I come to putting Aura, and I'm just like, well, my Firesprays are just going to have to pair up, and we'll have to see what happens. So I put her in my bottom left corner, about slightly angled towards the centre. I'm actually aiming directly at the debris, but I'm pretty sure that a force rate and a boost, I can just sort of scoot past it, and then I can work out where I need to go from there. And I'm trying to present a threat that maybe Sean will react and put his 5s across some Aura, and then my 6s can just not be there.
So I set up my 5s, and I set up Gina to the right of Braylon. A bit of space in between them. She's almost on the centre line, because obviously I want them near each other. I know the engagement's likely to sort of come from my right, because you put at least 1 Firespray there, and it's reasonably likely you put both. Or certainly 2 ships. But just in case, and because I know you have a habit of putting Sunfac in the far corner and trying for the flank, I stick Luke to the outside of that rock to just be able to, keep him back, threaten a torpedo, and
Yeah. And so I put Django slightly to the right of Aura, again slightly angled. I'm basically aiming between a debris and a rock, almost directly for the center, with the idea that once I get past that debris, I can then pick and choose where Django shoots off to. And Sunfac is in the far side, right in the corner, basically saying like, "I'm here, I might flank," but I basically my intention with Sunfac was like, he's going to go and claim my home objective and then try and curve into the battlefield once the Firesprays and the B-wings have started messing up.
Yeah.
Because as your protorps are a massive threat, so what I'm wanting to do is maybe try and get you to use them on the Firesprays who can take it.
Yeah.
It's one of those. There's no real winning situation, but I'd much rather you shoot Django than Sunfac the proton torpedo because Django at least has shields.
Yeah. And for me, I'm kind of like, I'll shoot the Firesprays with the torps, but only if I've got a decent amount of, like, if I've got 2 torps and a range 1 from the Fang, then fine, I'll go in. But if I've only got 1 protorp on it, especially in the initial engage, depending on what you've done, if you reinforce, for instance, and it's range 3, I'm like, you've got the 4s, you've got to reinforce. I'll probably only squeak 1, maybe 2 through. And if I'm only squeaking 1, I might as well just roll the standards.
Might as well just shoot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's get into it. And that's a little further back than I thought. We roll off.
So let's just get going because we roll off and you win for priority. And in the spirit of moving things along, essentially we all bez forwards, and I make a mistake turn 1.
Yes, I slow roll a 2 straight with everything except Sabine, who does a 1 hard, and Luke does a 3 just to get close enough to the rock to give him more options on the following turn. No one does any tricks or anything like that. Because I'm not sure where you're going. I want you to kind of commit to some lanes first.
And so what happens is Aura does a 4 straight. I boost to the left, so I'm just like angled slightly out, so I can turn into the center, or I can loop around and go attack your home objective.
When you did that 4 straight, I genuinely thought you were close enough to not be able to boost around that.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking like, and even if I've misjudged this, fine, Aura 1 hards next turn.
Yeah.
Was my thought. And then Django does a 4 straight, and I stupidly focus. Because I'm like, I don't think I want to go forward just a little bit. It's like, no. Where I am, that debris to my left is really annoying. If I had boosted, I would be past it.
Yeah.
And sure, maybe I take a range 3 shot from someone, but that is well worth it, considering that I'm now at the worst possible angle for a Firespray, because now I can't just 1 bank in either direction and go somewhere. I have to at least 2 bank, and you know that because a 1 bank basically either lands me on debris or lands me on a rock.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm either going straight or it's a fast turn. And Sunfac does a 3 bank to the left. Tractor boosts towards my objective and takes focus. He's just like, yep, I'm going to wait till this gets messed up a little bit, and then I'm going to dive in, hopefully.
Yeah. There is no shooting this turn, so that's nice and easy. So, because where you've put the Firesprays, effectively, I'm like, right, cool. We'll all bank towards the right. Keep Luke slightly wide in case Sunfac thinks he can cut in and do that. You know, if I've got a focus, I'd probably lob an instinctive aim torpedo at him. It's not the optimum shot, but particularly if you've trapped it yourself and
exactly.
And don't have
if I thought you didn't have a shot and I've tracted myself, then you should absolutely take that because it's 4 on 2.
And I'll admit, when I dialed in my moves, I was 49% convinced you'd 1 hard Aura into the centre.
I've thought about it. I've really thought about it. I probably should have done. In hindsight.
But yeah, my general plan now is to... It's not yeet in, but get into range of where the Firesprays are going to be. Because of it happening on the right, I've sort of got Gina and Braylon the wrong way round, because I want Braylon in closer.
Yeah.
But I think that's just part and parcel of I had to set up Braylon before you put anything down. Maybe I should have put him a little more centrally and Gina could have gone on the other side.
Yeah, maybe, but then like if you wanted it to be this way around, then if Braylon was in the centre, then that rock in the centre is annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll run through and then go through everything once we get there. But yeah, I'm just sort of, with the exception of the Fang, because I want to get the Fang onto Django and possibly put it in a position to block Aura if she does one hard. So I'm first player. No, you're first player.
No, I'm first player.
But it's Sabine. Sabine does a barrel roll and a 3 bank, because I was like, if you one hard, fine, I'm not getting shot. If you come in, all right, it's Sabine. Maybe you've come in fast enough that I block you, but yeah. And she claims
I
did
not. I did not. Aura does a 3 straight, and then tentatively target locks Sabine, because I'm just like, right, let's just commit. We're going to try and take this boy out.
Yeah. So Braylon and Luke both bank in and take focuses. Braylon does a focus into a roll, gets a stress, gets an evade, because I wasn't sure how fast Django was going to go. The Fangs come forward quite fast, banked to try and catch Django. And Gina only did a 2 straight because I knew it would line me up with the rock, which means I thought it would get me past the front, past the rock, but basically allows me to block the barrel roll so I can focus red stress, get the evade, and hopefully launch torpedo at you. And start of engagement. Oh no, sorry, I should go through your shits first before I jump ahead.
Yeah, so Django just does a 1 straight because I wasn't sure where you were going, and I was hoping to just kind of sneakily not be in range of Braylon and Luke, because they were like quite far out, and I figured Luke had like a long way to go, and Braylon, like, I didn't know if you were going to go fast or slow, but I was like, if you go slow to try and stay within range 2 of Gina, if I just do a 1 straight, I'll probably make my move unless Bodica's done something insane, and then I'll see where I'm at. I want to see if I can just quietly, like, not be getting shot by 1 or 2 of your ships.
Yeah. Now, interesting.
Whereas Sunfact just did a 4 straight, claimed the objective, and then did not tractor his arc. Because his arc is currently facing forward, and this is a huge error because it shows that I am not thinking about what's happening next turn in the slightest.
Slightly smaller error, but what I did with Braden was the 1 bank focus into a roll. What I could have actually done with him was the 3 bank.
Yeah.
It's red. I still get the evade. I'd be down 1 focus, but I'd still have focus evade, and I'd be much more likely to be in range to actually shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets his spare focus. Gina acquires a lock and does have an unobstructed shot onto Django. But we start with your 6s.
Yeah, so I just shoot Bodica. It's range 1, so you got Concordia, but I figure there's no point in giving you a free shot.
Yeah.
Like, the other shots aren't exactly great either, so... but I roll Jackal.
And I dodge Jackal. Luke has no shot. I do fire the torpedo into Django because you're not reinforced.
I am reinforced.
So you are reinforced, but I'm reasonably confident the next turn there's going to be quite a lot of damage on Django because I can't see a whole lot of way of you escaping.
You have Duke online.
And I have Duke online. So if I can chip away a few shields now, so much the better. I roll hit, focus, blank. I re-roll the blank into a blank. Spend the focus to end up with 2 and a crit.
And I roll double blank, so I reinforce away the hit and I lose 2 shields.
I whimper Duke.
Yeah, Duke. Aura shoots range 1 into Sabine. And just out of hand rolls 2 hits, 2 crits, because Aura's amazing.
Who needs locks?
But you roll 2 evades.
I roll 2 evades. Nice. We have a quick discussion actually about whether you can see the crit on Beskar before you Beskar it away, and
because it reads before you would be dealt a face-up card, so you have to decide to use it before you see the card.
So I use it on the first crit because let's not risk it being a fuel leak or a direct. Well, I mean direct is neither here, but
it's just direct. It's to get rid of one. It's 50. Basically. It's 50-50 which one is going to be bad, so you may as well just get rid of one.
Well, my thought was get rid of the first one because in case it's a fuel leak, because then all right, you're not suffering the other crit because you'd Beskar it away, but you don't want that fuel leak sitting there knowing one crit through. I mean, the second one may be a fuel leak, but yeah, you're right. Just do one of them. But I end up with a blinded pilot, basically. Fine. Boudica has a range 1 into Django, so I take that and roll hit crit.
And I roll double evade, so I just take another shield.
Braylon has a range 3 shot. Rolls crit focus blank, spends the focus for hit crit.
And I get 2 blanks and a focus, and so I take another damage from Brennan. So my shields are gone. Thank you, reinforce.
I mean, yeah, because let's be fair,
reinforce was great.
That would be like a lot of your
yeah.
You would have taken crits if it wasn't for that. So yeah, definitely. Sabine takes a range 1 shot into the Firespray, rolls a crit, which somehow goes through. And we score a point each on objectives.
Yeah. And so now the consequences of my actions the previous turn are coming to bite me, because Django is currently where I would have been had I boosted last turn. And it would have been really nice to have moved from here this turn, but because I'm not, I'm now got a Boudica in front of me. I've got like your entire list to the right of me, and Sunfac's not really in a position to help, and Aura's definitely not in a position to help. So I only have one way to go.
So
I also don't think you can prevent me going this way.
This is it. I have an interesting choice because Boudica's stressed, I very nearly just turned away from you to try and get the bump. But I was like, if I misjudge this and it doesn't go far enough and you one straight and sit behind me, then I'm taking a range 1 shot.
That you can't Concordia.
That I can't Concordia. I opt to turn into you because I'll get the focus. Yes, you're still probably going to shoot me, but at least then I'm almost guaranteed to get a shot onto Sunfac. So at least I'm shooting something. But we go into the turn. I'm first player again. System phase. I Mando Optics a lock for the Fang onto Django. I would have taken Sunfac, but unfortunately he wasn't quite in arc. So there we go. Sabine barrel rolls, does a 1 hard and takes a focus. I was hoping you might have cut in a bit hard and I could block it. There's every chance you do a 3 bank, and I can't do anything about that. But I couldn't get past you, otherwise I would have considered it.
And then Boudica does a 2 hard on bumps.
Yeah. Right, Braylon does a 1 straight to clear the stress, and then rolls into a lock on Django. And I should have gone faster with him. I should have done a 2 or a 3, because Luke does a 2 straight and bumps into the back of him. And I wanted to make sure Luke got in range to be able to pick up the lock. But obviously the B-Wing can go up to like a 3 straight blue, right? So I should have just gone faster with him. Gina banks around the rock and claims the center objective.
Yep. And in all of this, Aura did a 2 bank past Sabine, and I claimed the far objective. Then Django goes, and I was looking, because Boudica had landed directly on Django's nubs, and I was literally thinking, like, if this screws me over, because I've done a 1 bank to the left, trying to get past Boudica, and I end up boosting to try and dodge Luke's arc, because I don't want to eat an instinctive and proton torpedo if I can avoid it. Like, I'm getting a range 1 from Gina no matter what. So let's just try and dodge as many arcs as possible. Then Sunfac is a 3 hard, and it is at this point that I realise that I've screwed up last turn and cannot do any shenanigans. So I try and buy myself a turn by tractoring away from Boudica, turning my arc towards her, and taking a focus, and just trying to get out of range of Braylon and Luke.
Yeah.
But again, had I been able to get in and start tractoring, I would have tried to hit either Gina or Braylon or Boudica with a really hefty shot.
Start of engagement. No stress on Gina, so nothing for Braylon. But Gina is able to pick up a lock onto Django.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Sunfac has no shot, so we go straight into Django, and I shoot range 2 into Sabine out of the front. And I get a hit and 2 focuses.
I'm strained because you notorioused me from the previous round when I shot Aura.
Yeah.
And I double blank, so I take 1.
The irony being, had I spent the force, I would have killed you, but I would really wanted to save this force for defending against Gina. So it is what it is. And then I shoot out the back into Boudica, and I roll 2 focuses and a blank, and I say, nope, I still need the force.
So Luke has no shot. And Gina rolls a range 1 into Django. I roll blank, blank, focus, hit. I spend the lock to get hit, focus, focus. And so 2 hits.
And then I roll 2 blanks, so haha, the force. Anyway, so 2 damage onto Django. Django's got 4 left.
Yeah. Nothing for Braylon, and a range 2 shot from the Fang into Sunfac. I roll 1 hit and 2 focuses and spend for 3.
And I rolled double evade, so Sunfac takes a damage. And then Sabine does nothing to Django, I believe.
I haven't got to that. This is Aura, I believe, into...
Oh, this is Aura, is it?
Yeah.
I believe I roll hit, crit, focus blank. I spend the lock on the focus blank, and I roll it into hit blank. So I end up with 2 hits and a crit.
I roll 1 evade and 2 focuses, and I spend to live.
Yeah. So it's all kind of gone wrong a little bit this turn for me.
Then I roll 2 hits out of hand from Sabine into Django.
And Django rolls evade focus, and finally gets to spend that force!
Yeah, so the next turn's reasonably easy for me. I just sort of slow roll into the centre because Sunfac either turns in or runs away, not being able to put his turret arc out the back. I'm planning on dropping a bomb with Gina and attempting to block with Sabine because I'm sure Sabine dies this round. She's got 1 health. But I heck up a little bit in the sense that I forgot which bomb was on which. And so I was like, I drop a bomb with Gina, thinking it was a proton bomb, and then look down and realise it's an ion.
Ooh.
Which, isn't the end of the world, but it does stop me being able to get locks with Gina, because I'm 1 straighting. I thought I was going to take a crit, and I was like, that's fine, I've got all my shields intact. In fact, I thought I was probably taking 2 crits, because I was reasonably sure you drop a proton
from Django, which I absolutely did.
And I was like, alright, cool, I'll take 2 shields. So it means I get a focus lock on Sunfac. Done. But yeah, then it's an iron bomb. I was like, well, I've already said it, so we go. Sabine goes, does a barrel roll, 1 hard claims, attempts to go for the block. I bail Boudica out of there to try and go towards the top objective to claim, not quite in range, so I'll just set up for the next turn. And everyone else just slowly moves to the centre, takes focuses or locks onto Sunfac.
So Aura does a 1 hard, and I just reclaim that objective back because I've got my range 1 into Sabine. Surely she dies, right? And then I basically, it's not, I don't know if this is a mess up with Sunfac or if a just not understanding the whole reason I built Sunfac with this aggressive build, because I tried to turn away and get away and just dodge arcs. And to be honest, I don't have any defensive tech on him, so I probably should just go ham and try and just deal as much damage as possible with him before he dies, because I don't think he can realistically survive with the 3 of your ships chasing him.
Yeah.
Because I 1 bank away, tractor, boost, and focus. I think I've dodged Luke's arc, but Braylon and Gina can both shoot me.
So
There's an obstruction.
I didn't think you did dodge Luke's arc, but
actually no. Luke does Luke drop a proton torpedo?
I think he does, but I believe they're all obstructed. So
yeah, they're all obstructed. But he's like, I've not actually dodged anything in doing this, so I should have just gone for damage.
Yeah.
Whether I was eating my own crit or not.
Yeah. The ion.
In fact, I could have made Luke eat a crit too. It would have been a shield, but
the ion bomb goes off and only catches Gina, which makes me sad because I can then not acquire a lock.
And the proton bomb just hits both B-wings, whatever.
That's fine.
A shield.
Yeah, 2 shields. So Django shoots.
Yeah, I shoot out the back into Sabine. I roll hit, focus, crit, spend the force for hit, crit, and Sabine finally dies.
Yeah, Sabine goes.
That is 15 points of Firespray, has spent 4 turns killing a TIE fighter.
Yep. Gina rolls into Sunfac and ends up with hit, crit.
I roll 2 evades, focus blank, and I spend my focus to get 3 evades.
Is that okay? He's dodged that, but it's the focus gone.
Yep.
Luke does have the torpedo.
Yep, so instinctive aim.
No, I've got the lock.
No, this is not. Oh, this is not the instinctive aim
Yeah,
one.
this is not the
Okay.
instinctive aim one. I roll a sad torpedo of 3 blanks and an eyeball. But
Luckily,
hey,
you got a lock.
Luckily, I got a lock. I spend the lock on all of them. It converts. I spend a force, and it converts to 1 hit and 2 crits.
And I roll 2 blanks and an evade, and so the 2 crits are Panicked Pilot and Loose Stabilizer, which, as we work out shortly, that means Sunfac is guaranteed dead no matter what.
Yeah. Braylon attempts to finish him off through the rock, but fails.
And then Aura has a range 3 shot into Gina, but doesn't put any damage through because I roll hit blank blank, and you roll an evade. And again, I score 2 points to 1. It's 7-3, but like Django's hurting and Sunfac is dead. And I'll explain that quickly. Basically, Sunfac has 2 stress and a loose stabilizer. A 2 straight doesn't take him off the board, but the problem is I can't fix the loose stabilizer, so the next 2 straight or turn will, because the turn will kill me, so the next 2 straight I just go straight off the board. So Sunfac is dead. The only question is, do I want to give Sean 5 points now or 5 points later?
I'm left with an interesting choice because I want to drop Gina's other ion bomb, and I could drop it to the side because I'm reasonably convinced Aura's going to hard turn in. Or I could drop it behind me because I'm reasonably convinced that Django is going to hard turn. I don't think Django is in range from that hard turn, but it would stop or seriously make him consider boosting in.
Yeah.
Because he's only got 4 health left, and alright, I'm planning on turning around this turn. Do you really want to get ionized and then 1 straight where I know you're going and not be able to reinforce?
Yeah, exactly.
So I do opt to drop it out the back. Maybe Aura's gone in fast enough to catch it. We don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, like I do a 1 bank with Gina because she's ioned and focused. But cool, Sunfac's going to be there, and everyone else turns around with K-turns and talent rolls.
So Aura does 1 straight and just target locks Gina because I know she's going to be shootable. And Django does a 1 hard, and I just focus because I don't want to boost into an ion. But I can kind of see the writing on the wall at this point, unless I get insanely dice lucky.
The important thing to note is because Boudica bugged out last turn, she has hard turn back in, but been able to claim the top objective. So I'll be going 2-1 up on objectives to try and claw some of that deficit back.
So Django has no shots, and then Gina gets a target lock onto Sunfac and rolls hit crit crit.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the pleasure of flying.
And then I roll triple focus.
Luke does have a range 3 shot into Aura, and I roll 1 crit.
And I dodge it. I take a range 2 shot into Gina, and I put 2 damage through onto you. So yay, 2 shields down.
Yeah, it's getting through. That's the problem. Like the B-wings, because they're the same stat line, the same defense, very much like the Resistance Y-wings, they seem absolutely great until suddenly when those shields are gone, and then you're like, oh, I'm only on 4 hull, and suddenly it's a little bit seat of your pants time. But
it's a little bit seat of your pants, but at the same time, you just have the value out of it.
So this round's quite, again, reasonably simple sort of decision making for me. Of Gina 2Ks to turn rounds. Everyone else kind of just slow balls into the middle, with the exception of the Fang, who goes a little faster just to get the arc round. Basically, to try and get arcs on Django, because I'll take a range 1 side shot from Aura if I have to, if I can get Django off the board.
Yeah. So I popped Notorious, and I really, really wanted first player this round.
Because you mean
I really wanted to get. Pop overheat modulators. Because if I had first player, I was going to try and just get in the way of both Braylon and Luke. Unfortunately, Braylon goes first, which means I can't quite get in the way. And so I just have to settle with taking I think it's a target lock onto Braylon, I think I end up with.
No, yeah, I think so.
Or do I focus? I can't remember what I
No, because you've got the calculates.
Yeah.
The important thing to note, though, is that does block Luke. Blocks his 2 straight, so I can't take a target lock onto Django. But I've got to focus. I'll probably instinctive aim a torp into you.
Yeah, and Django does a one bank and reinforces because if I have any chance, it's Django living this round, and so I just shoot range 2 into Boudica because again I need Django to live this round, and there's no point giving you free shots when you can get them. So I roll blank, hit focus, and I spend my force to get 2.
I roll 2 blanks and a focus, and I seriously think about, do I spend the focus and just take 1? I've got
The answer is no.
full health. I don't.
I think mathematically the answer is
I
no.
take the 2 because I just need to kill you. Even if Aura then kills Boudica, that's a double net win for me.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I take the 2. Gina goes into Aura, rolls hit crit.
I roll double evade. You juke it, so I spend to calculate, and I take another shield.
I instinctive aim a torpedo into Django. A little happier this time. 2 crits and a. I don't know. I end up with 3 crits basically, which I'll take with no target lock.
I roll double blank. So I now have 2 health left on Django.
Yeah. We go to the falls. Braylon has a range 3 shots, so I shoot that. I roll all paint and spend the focus for 3 hits.
I roll evade, focus, blank, so I take 1 more damage. Django's on 1.
And then the fang goes in at range 2. I roll crit, hit, focus, spend the focus.
I roll evade blank, so Django takes another 1 and dies. Then Aura goes into Boudica, I believe.
Yeah.
And I roll hit, and I put 1 damage through.
Yeah. Then I score 1 point and you score 2.
So it's 19-10, and I call it because it's mathematically impossible for me to do anything.
See, I had you as 19-12 on the overlay. I must have missed. But yeah.
It's possible I didn't score the last 2 points at the end there, actually. Yeah. I might have just not bothered.
To be fair, I had you 2 points from the turn before, so but that's neither here nor
it's
there.
Neither here nor there. I mathematically couldn't do anything to stop you from winning.
I'm just gonna stick that back so we can look at it. But it was interesting because I like the B-Wings. I need to play them a bit more, but I didn't trigger It's a Trap, but because you were shooting the Fang. And
yeah,
that's exactly what the Fang's there for.
It's one of the things. It's exactly what the Fang's there for, but I also can't not shoot the Fang.
No,
that's the annoying thing because you'll just throw like 5 dice at me.
Yeah,
over your activation if you don't.
Exactly. And yeah, effectively she did her job. Sabine did her job.
Sabine did more than her job.
Yeah,
I would argue
the B-Wings through stuff. Need to work on the bombs. I like the side bomb. It adds interesting options, I suppose. Area control. Braylon's interesting because he's never going to punch a huge amount of damage through because he's got homing missiles, and unless you're on 1 health, you just take the 1 damage. But it's getting 3 dice double modded a lot. Yeah, no, it's definitely worth exploring some more.
Whereas I don't know how. I don't think I actually can. I don't think I should allow myself to rate this list because Sunfac didn't shoot.
Yeah,
and so with that as the baseline, I actually don't think I can rate. I think I can rate my flying as bloody awful. And I think I can say that I actually don't think Aura being Zam would have made a blind bit of difference, functionally.
It would. I suppose it would present an interesting choice because you have that. Do I shoot her? Do I not shoot her? If I don't shoot her and she's done the one where she can double tap me anyway, then it's that.
It's an interesting choice at the same time, but after flying her at STO, I found that you either just ignore her and then Aura and Zam are the same person, or you just go all into her, and then Aura and Zam die just as quickly as each other.
Yeah, I suppose the argument would be the added loadout
Yes, the added loadout, but at the same time,
and the jumping
the
initiative.
added loadout that Zam gets is compensated for the fact that Aura has her force crew built in. Because it's not like you're taking Zam without a force crew.
That's true. That is very true.
And if you're taking Savage on Django, then your only other option is the 12-point Dooku, which is the 12-point difference between Aura and Zam.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Yeah.
So that at least there's that. So like having a 5-point ship, I think is fine. Secretly, I think dropping Aura and putting Dirge and a gunship in is probably more useful.
Yeah. I'm not sure Separatists are the 3-ship faction.
Probably not, but what is the 3-ship faction, though?
I'd argue maybe not top tier, but Empire could do it to a certain extent. What's Pete Yarwood been flying last time I saw him? Was it two Decimators and the Gauntlet, I think? And doing reasonably well with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I feel like I could do
reasonably well with it. Tough.
I mean, I think the thing is, I feel like I could do reasonably well with this if I just flew it better. Like I said, I don't think I can rate this list on this game because my i6 Ace didn't fire its gun.
Yeah.
And that's entirely on the choices I made. So I don't think I can say, oh, Sunfac was bad. It's like, yes, Sam, but you just flew away from the enemy and sat at range 2 to 3 the entire time. You're not hanging.
Yeah, that's
get in at range 1 and start messing with them.
And I say that's it. It's not just you're not Han. It's because you're a 3-ship. You need all 3 ships.
Yeah,
like if those Firesprays were 5 3-point ships, then Sunfac could have the luxury of flying away if he needs to. But
like I also think like even if having the luxury, I legit think I should have just turned in. But I was terrified I'd just bump into Boudica, that you just do a 2 straight or something. And I just bump into Boudica, and then Sunfac dies the exact same way, and it's an absolute disaster. So I was like, maybe you try to follow. I was like, maybe you try and finish off Django, was my thought, and that Sunfac can get out.
No, see, I saw an opportunity for Sunfac, and even if it hadn't have panned out, I didn't think I'd get punished too hard for it. And if I can take him off, I'll take him off.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, I should have been like, okay, Sunfac's going to die, but you know what? If I get a range 1 and I rearrange you a bit, maybe he lives.
Yeah. Or even if, alright, Sunfac's going to die, but if I can chip Luke down to 1 or 2 health so that Django can initiative kill him.
I mean, or if I can just be like, hey, I'm just going to quietly remove Braylon or Gina's entire shields and probably deal damage to them as well. Because it's not like you're getting an agility against me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's interesting. We'll definitely have to give it some more.
So that means I'm going to have to show up tomorrow to Club Night with this list.
I'm not showing up to Club Night with this list. I don't know, actually. I will either be bringing the other Battle of Endor list that I've been practicing, which is Wedge, Luke, Fen and the Fang, Hull, Boy Hull, and Sabine. Or I've got an event in 2 weeks at Curtin, which Endor is legal for, because we have legal points, but they're not allowing proxies, and because nobody can get hold of it at the moment because it's delayed,
so
that really pretty much means it's no Endor. So I'll probably switch back to Resistance because I've got the most. I've been practicing for the last couple of months.
Yeah,
with it. I mean, I might just bring some fun Resistance.
That's also fun.
I haven't put Ray on the board for ages. I should put Ray on the board. Ray's wholesome and enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
Well, for the person playing it, maybe.
Ray is a B-Wing. Ray is all these new standard loadout cards before standard loadout was existed.
Yes. Yeah.
How many other characters could basically guarantee to have like 4 hits?
Yeah. Or more evades than you have any right to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like theme of this list, theme of today's episode. If you can identify that you have flown badly, try your list again until you think you have flown well, and it still doesn't work.
I always think
whilst I don't think this list is amazing, I also can't rate my list until I actually fire Sunfac's gun and use him.
Yeah, I always think
It's not like Aura and Django individually did terribly.
Yeah, no. I always think if you can get the time in, have at least 5 games with the list.
Well, I don't think you need to pick a number. I just think if you can be like, okay, I flew well, and this still was awful, I think you can then be like, now I can change something. It doesn't have to be the entire thing.
I don't think you can do that off one game, because even if you flew well, your opponent may have flown better, dice may have come into it, you may have had a bad matchup. Like, I think you need a few games, but that's just my take on it. Like 5, all right, was an arbitrary number I picked out the top of my head, but it's, I'd argue at least 3, 4, something that, so you've got against different lists, you've got against the same list but multiple times, so that you can avoid variance. And you won't play badly every game. So if you play your absolute best and your dice are red hot and you still lose repeatedly, then fair.
Like my take with this is like, I'm like looking at Sunfac in this and being like, I could replace him, but I can't decide that until I at least fly him competently.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether that's next game, and I'm like, okay, this was the godlike Sunfac game, and I played godlike, and it was still an absolute disaster. Then I can be like, okay, he's not working, because if he's flying god tier, if I'm flying him amazingly and he's rolling hot, and it's still not enough, then I need to change something about the list.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, on that note, we better wrap it up for this week.
Yeah.
We will be back next week with, probably some more B-Wings for me.
Probably some more Separatists, but we may or may not have Firesprays.
I might play around, just put things in, because the B-Wings are essentially what I'm practicing. I did consider making Boudica and Sabine like Chopper in the Ghost Store. Sorry.
I still need to do my super alt-art droid list.
Yeah. I did consider, because I was thinking of put ships that if you ignore them and go for the B-Wings, they're going to punish you, or if you're going for them, the B-Wings get away with it, hence the Fang. I was considering Lebo in the Outrider.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Like, circle around, throw 4 dice at range 3, maybe put trick shot on if I do the custom one, and if you chase them, great, B-Wings are getting away scot-free. If you don't chase them, that's 6 points going around lobbing 4 dice at you every turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be worth playing. Plus, it'd be nice to get it on the board. But yeah, we'll play around for a week, and I'm sure I'll change my mind 5 times before then. But yeah, we'll just say goodbye and see you guys next week.
Yeah, ta-ta.